Welcome back to the Domestique Hotseat podcast. And boy, if this is your first episode, mate, you've picked a goddamn fine time to jump on board. This isn't an easy task bringing you these episodes. In fact, if you're watching on YouTube, unfortunately, this can be a visual medium. I look like something out of George R. Romero. Is it George R. Romero? The Night of the Living Dead. Because it's 12 a.m. here. But you know what? Sometimes you just got to put in the grind. Now, we are a little fish in a very big pond here at Domestique, especially if you have a look at our sub count. So if you could smash that like button, that'd be great. And hit subscribe, you'd be a damn fine human being for doing it. So today we're continuing with our World Championships theme. We've talked to Kim LaCourt, and we've also talked to Byron Munton. And today we're talking to another athlete on the ground. He's extremely busy over in Rwanda at the moment. We're so pressed for time here, meaning this one will be slightly shorter than what we've produced before. And brevity isn't my strong suit. But here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you Wout Poels. All right. Wout, how are you?
Yeah, all good. Yeah, feel good.
Yep. Look, obviously you're in the ground in Rwanda at the moment. Yeah. How's the riding there?
It's a little bit different than Europe, where I normally ride. It's like a little bit of chaos, but I have the feeling all the people it's like a controlled chaos in the traffic. So everyone goes really slow and let each other in. But yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a bit like I've been to a few developing nations, not in Africa, but the traffic almost seems to act like a fluid, and you just have to sort of be
exactly.
by it.
Yeah. The first day I was a little bit confused. I was like, "Oh, is this going okay?" But then everyone is like, they are not aggressive, but it just goes smooth, and you go in, they let you in, you let other people in, and then it goes pretty easy actually.
We don't have this on the questions, but I believe you were in Australia in 2022. Is that correct for World Championships?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Australian drivers are sort of renowned for being a bit aggressive and a bit angry.
Yeah.
Did you experience any of that when you were here? I think a few of the riders did.
No, I've said they are horning a lot, but then they are waving. So I think it's more like, "Hey, hello, I'm coming from the back," and yeah.
I was going to ask then, because I've spoken to a few riders at the moment, and they've said, speaking to some of the Aussie blokes that did the under-23 race today, I think it was, or yesterday, my time now, and they've said it's absolutely fantastic. But then I've spoken to some others that say it's a little bit hectic locating the worlds in Rwanda. What is your impression on the ground? I'm assuming you've been there a couple of days now.
So we are really close in Kigali, the main city where we are. So to get out there, it's pretty chaotic. But if you're out there, then it's pretty okay. I mean, it's busy, cars are passing, and okay, sometimes you're riding and then you see another truck overtaking another truck and you are coming and you're like, not sure. But apart from that, it's pretty relaxed.
And what's the vibe on the ground like? I've seen a lot of the Instagram posts. It just looks like a really unique time. Most bike races, it seems like the riders would descend on the area the day before, let's say the Tour de France of Vuelta España. They race every single day. And then when they're not racing, I'm assuming they're at home getting massages, recovery, things like that. World seems to be different. There just seems to be people from national kits out everywhere riding bikes and having a good time. Is that what it's like?
Yeah, I it's not for me like that. Of course, I'm just training, massage, eat, rest, and be ready for Sunday. But you see, of course, also, the other countries were not like, they are a little bit different. They looks like they're enjoying it a little bit more.
Yeah,
and for them, it's also like a big experience because they see all of these good bike riders, and I think for them, it's also really sort of dream come true to race with us.
Yeah, absolutely. And how are the locals responding to the race being held in town?
I have to say, today we did a recon on the local lab. They closed everything, and the people are really friendly. Like, I didn't see one aggressive person over here. Also on the road with training, and the local people are just really friendly.
Yeah, how good. So the course there's been a lot of talk about it because it is, or at least on paper, it looks like it is literally just up, down, up, down, up, down.
Yeah,
And then a lap where you do some bigger up and down, and then
yeah,
some more up, down, up, down. I think it's fair to say that it's probably not selective enough for you. You'd probably prefer that Murder Kigali or the Mont would be a bit longer. But what about Aronsman? Are you guys looking at trying to get him into that final selection? You know, he had a fantastic Tour de France. Can he sneak
yeah.
into a break or something? Or
Yeah, we didn't really spoke about the tactics yet, but I have to say what you were saying, the course is going up and down all the time. And of course, with 260 plus kilometers, it's going to be very demanding. So I think it's going to be a pretty selective race over here. Like, I think it's going to be really hard.
Who do you think's going to be in that final selection then?
Yeah, I think Remco, Pogačar, Del Toro. Yeah, these names.
Del Toro is looking fantastic. I was listening to another podcast today, and they were talking about him sort of maybe being a little bit overhyped because of the fact that he's kind of been, I guess, almost UAE seemed to be really set on getting that 86 wins. And so they look like they've sent Del Toro over to go and farm a bunch of one-day races. But I don't know, he's looking pretty good. He came, was it 5th in the time trial, I think, down only a couple of seconds?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I think so. But yeah, if you see what he did the last month, it was pretty a lot of victories. So I think he's in really good condition, and also for here, I think the course suits him pretty well. So yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. Hey, so who do you fancy for both the men's and women's races? And obviously you can't put a punt or a bet on this, but if you were a retired rider and you were looking at making a little bit of extra cash, who do you reckon you would tip?
I have
for
to say,
this?
I think Remco Evenepoel is. I mean, if you saw his TT, like
Yeah.
he really smashed it over there. And he yeah, I mean, he's a great rider, and he's also like last year with the Olympics, what he did over there was really impressive. But yeah, then you also still have Pogačar. So yeah, I think there's gonna be interesting battle between them. But for now, I think
Yeah.
I would say Evenepoel.
Okay. I like hearing that because I love watching Pogačar, but I also love watching Pogačar when there's a race on, and I'd love to see he and
Yeah,
Evenepoel.
I think it's gonna be a nice battle between them. I mean,
Yeah,
they are like outstanding. Like, yeah.
yeah. And what about the women's?
Yeah, of course, with the Dutch selection, they also have a very strong lineup with Demi Vollering. So yeah, I think she makes also a really good chance to win.
You don't think it's too strong? There's been a bit of talk about it sort of being almost like an SD Works 2024, kind of too many captains.
Yeah, I mean that's a luxury problem, of course, for the
Yeah,
for the women.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they have a lot of cards to play, and yeah, also think some other girls can benefit from that. But I think if they work together well, they should be able to take the win.
Yeah, for Vollering, you reckon?
Yeah, I think on paper yes, but you also saw in the past with some other races like the Europeans that sometimes another strong woman win. Yeah, and I think you always have to use that strength to get the maximum result. Even if that
Yeah,
means for following, that can be hard, of course, because everyone is looking at her.
yeah, absolutely. With the course design, I don't have this in one of the questions, but the women's, they're not doing the larger city loop.
No.
Do you think they've missed a trick there, or is that a bit of an?
I mean,
Would you have
maybe it would
preferred to
have been
see that?
nice for them to do. For maybe that's a missed opportunity, but I think the course is gonna be anyway very demanding.
Yeah, And another question that I guess isn't on here, but just in regards to, you've been on, I guess, one of these super teams. UAE is the super team at the time, but you've been on Team Sky, and you would have shown
Yeah.
up to a world's race where you're competing against your teammates. How did you guys handle that? Was it, okay, I'll work for the guys on the team, or are you very much focused on the country? Like, I guess, how do you expect, you've got Almeida, you've got, Almeida's not here, but Ayuso, and you've got Del Toro, a bunch of the UAE guys that are going to be here, Soler as well. How do you think they'll play this out? Soler's certainly saying that he's not working for Tadej at Worlds.
No, normally when you ride for your country, you just go full for that. You can't have like a double agenda, of course. I mean, it's always interesting to see if that is not going to happen. But yeah, I think normally it's like sometimes maybe also nice when you can race against your teammates for one time.
Yeah. Well, you go pro in 2009, I've got here. It was a bit hard. It sort of said 2009 to 2013 was your first pro team.
Yeah.
So you've seen a fair few world championships. So I've got you in Australia, Denmark, Netherlands, Italy, Spain, USA, Qatar, Norway, Austria, Great Britain, Italy, and Switzerland. Most backpackers would be happy. Yeah, sorry, but what
I didn't do all of them, huh?
Okay. Well,
but
even if you did
do
half of them, most backpackers would be happy if they had that many stamps on their passport. Yeah. What do you, well, I guess first, what was your favorite out of all of them?
It's not that I'm speaking with you, but I think Australia, my first one in Geelong.
Yep.
That was my first ever Worlds I did. And that was such a big thing for me that I went to the Worlds because I was never good enough to go when I was on the 23 or with the juniors. And it was a really nice experience. And I also did pretty okay race. So I have really nice memories from that.
Yeah. So that was actually before my time in cycling. I think I started cycling in 2011. So 2010, it happened in Australia, and it was something that I didn't even know what was on, which I'm actually really disappointed in. I was
you missed something out there.
Yeah, well, I was at the Wollongong Worlds. I did some volunteering in the media at Wollongong Worlds, and that was awesome because Wollongong is actually quite close to me. But I've actually never been to Geelong.
Yeah,
should
go.
Yeah, I should. It's in Victoria. I've been to Melbourne, but I don't think I've actually been to Geelong. There is a bit of a rivalry. I'm from New South Wales, and a little bit of a rivalry between New South Wales and Victoria. But it's a fantastic place, and I've heard amazing things about it. So I'm glad you enjoyed it. In regards to all of these countries, though, I guess we would, in the West, we'd call them developed nations, and Rwanda is very much, a developing nation. How are you finding it's comparing in regards to organisation and everything from some of these, countries like USA and Australia to Rwanda?
Yeah, that's like all different level. Like, I mean, organization-wise, everything looks okay. I will see, of course, on Sunday on the race. But yeah, it's what I say with the training in the traffic. You have to be more careful. You cannot drink water from the tap, or you have to be careful in the shower that the water doesn't get in your mouth to get sick. So you have to be a little bit more careful with things. To not get sick.
Yeah, so absolutely. I guess things like that. And also, I think Brodie Chapman from Australia, just the logistics of it, her TT bike didn't arrive until the day before she did.
Yeah. Like, if you see how much equipment we have, like I come down with 2 bikes, and everyone comes with 2 bikes, and it's like, such a like a big thing for the federation to book all the tickets and all the bikes and to get everyone on spot over there. So I think it takes quite a lot of time to organize everything properly.
Yeah, and I don't want to get too much into the logistics. Napoleon said logistics wins wars, but I don't. I think some people might start going to sleep if we talk about it too much. But do the bikes get driven in? Do they get flown over with you?
No, yeah, just I took them for my team, of course, and I'm lucky. I live in Monaco, and Astana has the service schools in Nice, so that's only 45 minutes away. And
Perfect.
the team brought me the bikes to the airport, and I just checked them in and took them out in Rwanda again.
And how are you handling the elevation there?
Now, to be honest, we on 1,500 meters altitude, and I still feel it. I also see it on my Garmin watch in the morning, like your HRV, heart rate, sleeping score, all of that. So I see it puts some pressure on the body that you have to get adjust to it, which is normal.
Yeah.
And also the
Yeah,
air
totally.
quality is not really great over here. So
Yeah,
today, for
right.
example, I did some threshold training, and then you feel it with breathing.
Yeah. Is that just from the pollution from the cars and everything, or?
Yeah, they're not super green over here with the cars.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
I went to a race in China a couple of months ago, and there was literally a truck driving down the street, and it was just spurting
Yeah.
exhaust
Well,
out, and
yeah,
the back of the truck was just full of coal, like just lumps and
yeah,
lumps of coal
yeah.
stacked up on top of each other. And I thought it's a different world.
Yeah, then you're
Um,
sometimes thinking like, what are we doing to try to reduce everything? Which is good, but then
yeah.
you come here, you're like, oh, it's a long way to go.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I think that's, probably one of the things that people find a bit frustrating about the whole green movement is, you do all that and then there's a truck just driving down the street with a bunch of coal in China that doesn't seem to care at all.
Oh.
Hey, before we move on from Worlds, what's the goal for you guys? What are you hoping to get out of this? You've got some pretty strong
Um,
competition, but you've got some fantastic riders on the team.
yeah, exactly. I mean, of course, you want to do the best result ever what you can do on the Worlds. It's always difficult to say. Everyone has a different preparation. I come from the Vuelta. That's like now 1.5 week ago. So
Mm.
it's a little bit, or you're good or not. And we'll find it out on Sunday. But I think we have a pretty good lineup. And hopefully we can go for a really good result.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll be excited to see how you go, especially after having a chat. It just makes it a little bit more personal. I see you on the road and I think I've
Yeah,
talked to that dude. Hey, so we've seen a little bit of sports and politics crossing over lately. How are you feeling about this conversation about the role of politics in sport, particularly after the Vuelta protests?
yeah. It's as an athlete, it's always difficult. Like, sometimes you wanna raise your voice and say your opinion, but it's always difficult. Also in the Vuelta with all the protest people. I mean, to do the protest, I really have no problem with that, and I think it's really good when people do it when they feel something. Um, but if they're gonna destroy the finish line, jump in the peloton, that's a different story.
Did you have any? There were a few riders that had some near misses. Were you part of any of that? I didn't see you in there, but there were a couple of riders that did come down. Were you close to any of that?
Luckily not with coming down to the ground to crash, but the last day in Madrid, I was held up,
Mm.
and then I touched a few people to get out of it because it was not really a nice atmosphere to stand in the middle. Then I was happy to be out of that.
What was it like in Madrid that last day, that one that got cancelled?
Yeah.
Um, what was it like on
Yeah.
there?
Yeah, I mean, we knew already that it would become very difficult to finish in Madrid, and
Mm.
it's a little bit of a weird day. It's also really a shame. I always feel really sorry for the winner, for the people who won the jerseys, and all these other things. To not that you cannot celebrate it properly after 3 weeks of racing. You put so much
Mm.
hard work into it, and then you don't have a little party. That was a really weird day. You always start really late, and then we started, and after 50K, everything got cancelled, and you have to go with police escort to your hotel.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, that's pretty
That's
extreme.
that is extreme. What was the chat in the peloton coming into that during the race? There were a few riders sort of coming out and saying things, but it was for the most part pretty closed ranks. How was the vibe in the peloton? What were people saying during the race?
Yeah, it was a little bit of weird vibe sometimes because some days it went without problem, and some days it was like just a big mess, like the stage in Bilbao, stage that Egan Bernal won, and Madrid. I
Yeah.
just a little bit. I think I tried to focus not to think too much about it. I was like, it comes day by day, and we will see what happens because there's not so much you can do. But of course, in the back of your head, you are thinking about it. You speak on the table about it. What maybe can go happen, and yeah, it was a little bit of weird for Vuelta.
Yeah. Yeah. And were you at any points, I guess, scared?
Nah, I was not really scared, but the vibe and atmosphere was getting a little bit into that. Like you saw these people, they were so angry, and I understand they're angry, but yeah, it was almost like I was like, yeah, why are you so angry to me? Like, I think I also want to have the best for the world and everything, and yeah, it was really like a little bit an aggressive vibe,
Mm.
and that was not
Yeah.
really nice to go through.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get that. It was not the I guess the welter that I heard, for example, that Jay Vine, like you were saying at the podium, I think his kids had already, like his wife and his kid were in the area and they'd already gone back to the hotel. So
Yeah,
when they did that impromptu podium, sort of they missed that. So I think he was quite upset about that. But then on the flip side, I think you have people like Jonas Vingegaard who maybe don't like the ceremony so much. They seem pretty
so he
happy to
was
sort of
happy.
have a bit more of an intimate
Yeah.
one.
So my
Yeah.
wife and my son also wanted to come, but I said, nah, better stay home because I have the feeling we're not going to finish in Madrid, and I prefer you guys are not standing in the middle of that. So
Yeah.
yeah, that says already enough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was definitely one that'll go down in history. What was it like to have, I guess, the eyes of the world on what is probably the smallest? I think it's fair to say the Vuelta is the smallest of the big three grand tours. But I think out of, the Tour de France always gets the most attention, but the Vuelta
Yeah,
probably got a lot more than it normally does because of
yeah.
those protests. What was
Maybe
that like?
maybe publicity wise for the Vuelta was great,
Yeah.
but I'm not
Yeah.
sure if they were really happy with the outcome of it.
Mm.
Yeah, well, it was a little bit unreal. Like I was just going through it like day by day, and a little bit like what I said before. I didn't try to think too much about it, but yeah, you're all the time reading it in the news, and yeah, well, a little bit of weird experience. Not how you want to do a
Yeah.
Grand Tour because you train so hard for it, and you just want to perform and you want to be your best. And yeah, then you have all of these things around it that where you cannot control, and yeah, it's a very difficult situation.
Yeah, and it is a challenging one. It's a challenging one from a viewer's perspective as well. Like I have my opinions on the Israel-Palestine situation, and at the same time, you want to watch cycling, and it's hard to square that circle.
Yeah,
Like you said, I can understand why they're doing it, but at the same time, I have concerns about rider safety. They're talking about potentially not hosting the Vuelta in Spain next year. That there's
yeah.
things that impact my sport, but then at the same time, I don't know, it kind of feels like a bit of a let them eat cake kind of situation when what's going on over there is going on. It's a challenging one.
Yeah, yeah,
All right, so let's jump off from that and let's go to your time at Team Sky. So you were there at the era of marginal gains. This time at Team Sky. Honestly, it's a point where I stopped watching cycling for a little while because you guys had such a stranglehold over the Tour de France. What is
sorry
it
for that.
like? It's okay. I came back and it's been fantastic. But what's it like being on a team that is so focused on every little detail? Was that exciting to be a part of, or did it get a
uh,
bit toxic?
no, it was great. I
Yeah,
mean, I was 5 years in the team, and I loved it. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, like we were going so well, and of course we also had great leaders with Froome, with G and Bernal.
mm,
I did 7 Grand Tours there, and 6 I was in a winning team, so that was
yeah,
pretty cool. Like to be part of that, and I think they were a little bit in front with everything. Like they knew what they were doing, and they had the right riders on the right moment, and also like all the domestique riders around it. And I think that was really their power to have a great team and great
Yeah.
results.
I had one at a question a bit later about the right riders, but you've brought it up. Was it the right riders? Because, for example, we've seen Froome move on, and he had a really bad crash as well, and you need to factor that in. But he's not been able to go on and maintain the highs that he was having at Sky. Bradley Wiggins did sort of a big transformation in order to become that. How do they seem to be selecting specific riders to fit into a specific framework? Is that fair to say, as opposed to, I guess, what we're seeing now where teams are selecting riders like Tadej Pogačar, like Remco Evenepoel, or even like Isaac Del Toro, who's coming up, Tom Pidcock, that can do everything.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the mindset at Team Sky? Like, pick a rider that will win the Tour de France?
Yeah, I mean, I cannot answer that question, of course, because I didn't pick these riders or was behind the scenes, everything. But I think they had a clear plan to win the Tour, and they were like, with who can we win the Tour? And that was the main thing. And then I think you have to scout really well, like also with Wiggins, is it possible to transform him to Tour de France winner? And then, of course, you need to have the support around it.
Yeah. Yeah, so how do you think that marginal gains culture then, that idea of micro-analysing every single detail, how's that influenced cycling in this modern era?
I mean, I think now every team is doing it. But at that time, I think they were really ahead of everyone. And I think that they did really like a great job to achieve all of these Tour de France wins and all the other Grand Tours. And for me, it was really excited to be part of that. I really enjoyed it. And it never felt really like I had to do things. It was like they had the tools and you could grab them or not. And when you perform, then it's like all worth it.
Yeah, right. So almost like being at a university that's at the cutting edge of scientific research and you can almost just play around. Is that?
Yeah, it's a little bit like, everything was there. And if you wanted to use it, you could use it. But it was not that I was saying like, you need to do that or you need to do this. Okay, of course, you need to perform. But it's nice if you have all good people around you who want to help you to get the best out of you.
Yeah. So for Sky, you win Liège-Bastogne-Liège in 2016. Massive win for you. And then in the year before, 2015, you're arguably the second strongest person on the team next to Froome. Did you have hopes for a leadership role at Sky at the Tour, or was that never really on the cards?
Nah, that was not really on the cards because Froome at that moment was so good and he was so dominant in the Grand Tours that it was not really a question for myself, that I was like, maybe I can beat him. I think he was always a few steps above me, so I never, if I would have thought that I could have beat him one day, then for sure I would go for it. But I think that was not, I was not able to do that.
Yeah. And do you think with riders like Froome, would he be able to compete in this modern era with, like, if you took 2015 Froome and the 2015 Sky team and you put them in the modern era against these sort of almost alien riders like Remco, like Vingegaard, like Pogačar, can he compete with those riders? Can Sky compete with those riders, or has cycling very much become about what individual rider that you have?
Yeah, it's always difficult to compare riders like different generations. I think he could, but yeah, what I said, it's always difficult to compare generations. Like, could he also be them, or could they be the other? Yeah, I think he could. I mean, he won 7 Grand Tours at the end, for me. So I think he could.
Yeah. Now, how do you see sort of, I guess, like the future of these riders? There are some riders that are coming out now that are just able to do everything. Grand Tour riders that are doing exceptionally well in one-day races.
Yeah.
But also then, like, I'm not even Tadej Pogačar, but Tom Pidcock podiuming at the Vuelta, but then also being competitive in the classics and being a fantastic mountain biker and a gravel racer.
Yeah.
How do you, like, is that something that, I guess, at 37 years old, do you wish you had an opportunity to come into cycling at a time where that is what a top rider can
I
be?
mean,
Or
if I could have done it, it would be great if you can do all of these disciplines. But I think it also takes a lot of mental strength to do that, to be the whole year round, to be in top shape. I'm not sure how long you can do that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you also need a break, of course. But I have massive respect for them, how they do it. Like also with Pidcock to get a Olympic medal on the mountain bike, doing good in the also in the Ardennes Classics, and then do a podium in the Vuelta. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, he's had a fantastic year.
Yeah.
It's really exciting to see because I really like Tom Pidcock as a rider, but I felt like, I don't know, I think I, like a lot of people, was questioning the move to Q36.5 from Team Sky and whether he's sort of going to fade a little bit, but he seems to be getting better.
Yeah, he was not a bad move for himself.
Yeah, I think that's an understatement. So on this topic, sort of, how do you think the sport of cycling has changed? You've had a very expansive career. If it's 2009 that you started, that is 16 years?
It's my 17th season this year.
17? Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I don't think I've committed to anything for 17 years.
No, you only go out after a few years if you get bored, apparently.
Yeah. How's the sport changed across those 17 years?
Yeah, it definitely changed a lot. Like, I think all the young riders who come over to the pros are way further. They know way more things. I think they already train way better than what I did when I was on a 23. They do altitude camps, nutrition. They know everything already. So I think that's also the reason why when they step in, the level of them is way higher.
Yeah. So I guess like the early development, you think, is probably the biggest change?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if you see now already with juniors that they have already agents and they get scout and they drop them in diva teams and then go to the under 23 to their under 23 teams and everything. They have everything already to be a pro.
I saw actually your old team. I did just see a notification that Bahrain had picked someone out of the under 23 ranks to go pro, but I didn't pay enough attention to the name. But yeah, so they are getting younger and younger, especially in the women's peloton. Some of those riders being picked to go pro there are very young.
I think also with the young the woman peloton is also like, I think the gap is bigger from junior to the. There's nothing really in between. There's not like the under 23 category.
Yeah, true.
I think it's getting bigger because it get way more popular. So I think that's also why they get younger professional.
Yeah. It's one of the, I guess, catch-22s in women's cycling. You know, a lot of the naysayers will say, oh, well, it's not at the level that I want cycling to be at. But the way that it has to get there is through viewership and through funding and things like that.
Yeah.
But I think women's cycling is sort of breaking that. Well, women's sport in general. Women's football in Australia is probably it's one of our most popular sports. I think our most popular sport team is the Matildas, which is a women's football team. So I think it's a really exciting time to be a female sports person. So look, you're 37 and I'm 36, so we're of a similar vintage. Do you think there's hope or still hope for people our age in professional cycling, or where do you plan to go from here? Is my professional cycling career shot?
Yeah, I think your professional cycling career is over, to be honest, if you start now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
No, yeah, I mean, I'm getting to the end of my career, and after 17 years, it's a really long jersey. Maybe I'm gonna do one more year. I'm not sure yet. but yeah, I'm still enjoying it. I think that's the most important thing, that you enjoy it, that you like to train and like to race, and that you still can make results. That's for me the most important.
Yeah. Yeah. And you got Tour of Turkey.
Yeah.
I'm not going to try and say the technical name. I think it's like the Tour of Presidential Turkey. But that's a big one. So you're clearly still getting results. Last question on your career. You're now at Astana. This is a team that's been locked in a relegation battle at the moment, and to be fair, doing quite well in that, especially the start of this season for Astana was fantastic. Your latest victory was at the Tour of Turkey, and I guess I'm wondering, that's a 2.0 race. What's the vibe attending some of these, I guess, kind of smaller races? Does it come with like a level of freedom in regards to going and trying to get UCI points, or is there pressure behind it?
No, I never really felt pressure, to be honest, in my whole career. But it was also like the reason why I went to Astana was also a nice challenge. Try to help them.
Mm,
And to be honest, the race like Tour of Turkey, Tour of Hungary, I always quite like to do not the World Tour races, because you can race a little bit more. You can
mm.
attack, and yeah, you can do a little bit easier result. And that's what I also still like to do, just to race and try to, yeah, make a plan and try to do it. And in the World Tour races, of course, sometimes it's a little bit more difficult. But yeah, so I always quite like to do them.
Was that always across the course of your career? Because I was talking to someone who I'll leave nameless, but they were at the Tour of Hungary and they were a little bit frustrated by maybe I guess they wanted to be at some of those top tier races, but they're at a different end of their career. Would you say that that's come with you being towards the end of your career? Or did you
Um,
always have that mindset that you like
well,
those
I
races?
always quite like to do them. Like also in Sky, I was also like, for example, doing Tour of Britain and racing like that. And I always quite enjoy that a little bit.
Mm,
Yeah, you have to race technically differently because you are riding with different level riders.
yeah.
And sometimes also just fun to do.
Yeah. Fair enough. Well, look, this has been an absolute pleasure, mate. What we tend to end these podcasts with, and I didn't have this in the questions I sent you, so kind of putting you on the spot, but just a little bit of advice that you might give to someone who is looking at starting their pro cycling career from someone who's had success in the peloton. So if you met a junior, say, out on the road in Rwanda tomorrow, what would you say to them as a way to get in?
Now, I think the main thing is with everyone who start with cycling, you have to enjoy it.
Mm,
You need to have the passion for the bike. And if you have the passion for the bike and the talent, then you have to have the right mindset to train and live like a pro to make it, but still to enjoy, because it's pretty cool what we are doing, riding our bikes and all over the world. Opportunities what we get, and then at one point you are doing what you really like to do, and it's your living.
yeah. Yeah. How good. Um, I would have loved to be a pro cyclist, but I think the thing that you said about having the
Yeah,
mindset,
you're too late,
I
buddy.
just don't. I just don't have that. I just had a bowl of yogurt. I just don't. I don't have it. I like to eat. Hey, it's been an absolute pleasure. Like I said, you have your own podcast. Did you want to do a quick plug? I'm not going to try and pronounce the name for you,
Yeah, it's
but
in course, but it's in Dutch, so I think for not a lot of people can listen to that.
I think we've got a little bit of a Dutch crossover.
Ah,
But
okay, yeah. So yeah, they can listen then in course
yep.
with
Honestly,
Dylan.
if they're
Yeah,
listening to this, they're probably already listening to In Course.
yeah.
But yeah, look, also on the socials and making sure you're cheering for him as he goes around in Rwanda. Wow, this has been really fun. I really appreciate you giving us the time. And look, best of luck on, it's Sunday, isn't it? Is your
Sunday,
next
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, look, best of luck for it. And yeah, enjoy.
Thank you very much.
Wow, how cool is that? Wout Poels, I'm still, I don't know, gushing, I guess. would be fair to say. So, look, if you enjoyed it, again, what we would really appreciate is if you can hit subscribe on whatever platform you're watching this or listening to this on. It would really help us continue to grow the pod and continue to get awesome guests that we can bring to you. So, yeah, this has been the Domestique Hotseat Cycling Podcast. I've been Aidan Burgess, and yeah, you've been excellent. Thanks.